stay calm, drink a cup of hopium or copium, and press the like button. Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the summary for the day of 108 or 11th of June. So I'm drinking my can of copium or hopium. Either way, no difference to me. In actual fact, it's just Red Bull. Anyway, now let's go to the summary. So let's go on from the I don't know where I should start from. Okay, as usual, Southern Front. At the Southern Front, the Ukrainian massive counteroffensive continues, and as you can see on the map, I have already made some changes. I added some polygons for the Ukrainians so that we can have a easier visualization of where the Ukrainian offensive are located. So there's from my point of view, there's actually 4 different fronts. There's one front on, I call it the Mykolaiv South Force or Mykolaiv South Offensive, where the fighting is now at Kharkiv, Sodatske, and there is a report that the Ukrainian forces have captured Tavryvske. So this location, Tavryvske, is previously under the Russian control, and in 1 or 2 tweets, it was reported that the village is captured by the Ukrainian forces. But from Tavryvske forward, is actually all nothingness, full of a lot of farmlands, and the next town is Pravdane, or they might have to push southwest to save Mykolaiv, because the Russian forces has reported to reach the outskirts of Mykolaiv or Mykolaiv. So this is the rumored Russian offensive that they had gathered a force around Alexandrivka to push for Mykolaiv, and the rumor is that they want to go all the way up this road towards Mykolaiv. Give me 5 seconds, I need to cough. Okay, I feel better now. So there is also this very interesting by the ISW, the Institute of Study of Warfare, or whatever you call it. The study of war, this tweet, they mentioned that the Ukrainian forces liberated Blahodatne. But the interesting thing is that on the DPA map, we have never set Blahodatne as under Russian control. It had always been a Ukrainian town or village or controlled territory. So that is why they are able to attack Kharkiv. So very interesting. Maybe it was like a no man's land. The Ukrainians dare not stay here. They were probably at Merne. So they just marched through Blahodatne, which the Russians are not holding, and then they went for Kharkiv. Most likely that's the case. According to the trend for the past 1 week or 2 weeks, nowadays they like to call this the gray area. It's like grayish and very boring, not colorful, totally not pride related. So it's like the gray area or the gray zone, or I just don't understand why they want to call that. Them call that. So it's like the last control is the person, is a force that control it. So whatever, we operate on a different modus operandi. Anyway, the other force is, I call it the Mykolaiv East Force, or you can call it the Snihurivka force, which there is fighting around Novopetrivka, and they are still currently continue to fight at Snihurivka. No breakthrough yet, this force here. And then we have another force, which is the most famous one, the one that kicked off the entire offensive. There was the Davydiv Brid one. So this, I call it the Kherson force, because the incursion was supposed to go into Kherson, Although all the force here is supposed to go into Kherson, so that's kind of stupid. Yeah, so I might as well just call it Davydiv Brid, Davydiv Brid force. Okay, so this force here have their full operating base at Murakivka and Kalinivka, and they were kind of impeded at Velike Atonkove and Bila Krasnisia because the Russian forces have entrenched themselves in these two positions, and out of no choice, they are now attacking Davydiv Brid again, and also at Velika Oleksandrivka. So this is the two locations that they are attacking at. This Kalinivske, I think. Let's delete this away. Yeah, I think that's not important. That's very outdated information. So this fighting reported at Kryvyi Rih. I got to delete this as well, because it's too far away from the front. I can't bend my head around this. So fighting is at Kosopilia. This was quite dated, and the latest one is that there's reported fighting at Topoline. However, this one is a Russian offensive. There doesn't seem to be a Ukrainian offensive around this area, despite they seems to be supposed to. And very interestingly is that I have discovered the Russian forces controlled Novovoznetsk. So at Novovoznetsk, this is actually confirmed by Patrick Lancaster. So I believe you guys might have watched this video. The Russian army patrolling a frontline village near Ukrainian army position. Though this is actually a very new video. It's within the past 12 hours. Sorry, like 18 hours. So very, very new video. So what happened was that Patrick Lancaster, I actually haven't finished the rest of the video, so I don't know what happened after this point. So he was driving in this car, then he entered this village together with the Russian servicemen, and then they brought him to a school, and then he was showing this guy was showing the how the school was actually bombarded because the Ukrainians thought that the Russians behaved just like the Ukrainian forces that were stationed and hide inside the school. So the school was bombarded. So he was saying, yes, our troops are not here, but they think they were here. So what happens is that they go onto the rooftop, and they actually tried to the Russian soldier tried to show Patrick Lancaster where exactly the Ukrainian positions is. So he points far ahead at a plant. So he says it's far away, and then behind the forest belt. And then I think he let me see. So he actually pointed at this plant here with four to five very high towers. So this is so what happened was that I actually geolocated this location. The plant that he was pointing at is actually this. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 towers. So this is actually the one that they're pointing at. It's actually a power plant. From my experience, TCTS is actually a power plant. Not sure what kind of power plant is this. I'm not familiar. And based on the orientation of this pillars, and also according to how the street come on, man. Oops. So based on this street orientation with the power plant that's behind, I kind of able to establish that it is probably Novovoznetsk. And actually, if you zoom in far enough, so what happens is that at the end of this line, there's one very thin tree line. So one line of residential buildings and one thin tree line. That is the guide, and I actually found it. This is the thin tree line, and then this is actually the row of residential area. And then if you actually look closely, this is the school. So they are actually on this rooftop, looking towards this direction, where they are actually around 15 kilometers away from the front line. So this is how I able to establish the geolocation of Patrick Lancaster. This becoming one of my favorite pastime, because it also helped me to bring some views. So so this location was previously listed as under Ukrainian control, and because of Patrick, and I'm able to confirm that this is actually under Russian control. Of course, we do not know what happened to Dobryanka or Trudeau Lubivka, but at least we can confirm that he's really actually at the front line itself. This is as at least basically the front line. So basically, he also said just as much that he is actually at the front line. So I actually don't know what happened next. So he was talking to people about boom boom boom, then strong fight, no question, cats, and then happy talk talk talk. Okay, yeah, and then okay, and then he's the only he, as he always say, he's the only Western journalist in this region. So anyway, I have also put this in the map. You can, if you are watching this on the next day, you can always turn this on. You can always go back to the previous days to look at this. This is for the 11th of June. So you can actually go to find out this thing, or you just go and Google Patrick Lancaster. You're probably gonna find it. So very interesting stuff. He for real go to the front line. I'm very impressed. So anyway, this is the Southern Front. So at the Zaporizhzhia Line, I have no updates. The entire so-called attack, offensive at Orohiv or Huyaipo have totally did not happen. Very disappointing. So there was this very hype up push towards Polohi. Also doesn't seem to bear any fruit. That was probably a week ago. So for a week, you haven't even reached Polohi, which is probably 15 kilometers. Then I don't think there's any offensive at all. All the offensive has failed right at the beginning when it started. So unfortunately, that's the case. Going to Mariupol. Welcome back to Mariupol. The Mariupol Tribunal. Actually, this will be arranged by the DPR, the Donetsk People's Republic, over all the Azov Battalion soldiers, as well as any Ukrainian soldiers that were recorded to have committed crimes against humanity and against the citizens. They will actually be tried under this Mariupol Tribunal, and this tribunal will be held by the DPR, and then it will be actually held at the end of June within Mariupol itself. So they are now already preparing for this tribunal, and this will be the first war tribunal for the Ukrainian war criminals within DPR, excluding the 3 foreign mercenaries that was already tried. I think 2 of them was British. So we'll definitely keep track of what happened at the tribunal vaguely, briefly, because I don't want to go too deep into this thing, but definitely we have to report a bit on it, and just to keep track of what kind of punishment or what kind of actions the Donetsk People's Republic is actually taking against the Azov Battalion, and it might actually have some implication onto the front lines, because there are still Azov Battalion and right sector militias operating on the Ukrainian side. So let's go to the Donetsk Front. I have no updates on Donetsk Front. I just don't have anything for you there. Unfortunately, it looks like the focus is not along this line. The Russian forces and the militia forces from Donbass, they are just holding the Ukrainian forces in place, as far as I can tell. Going to there's nothing to report here as well. Going to Luhansk Front. At the Luhansk Front, situation is unchanged at the south. We're still having this situation where the Zolotev and Kharkiv forces is now getting surrounded on 3 sides. And as I mentioned previously, the retreat route is getting is going to close very soon. Rubivka is actually heavily bombarded. The Russians still have not have a breakthrough. The defenses are holding very well. So the Ukrainians are very dependent on Rubivka holding, but I do not know to what end. So that's how it is. In terms of the Luhansk Front on this side, the Severodonetsk, I have no updates in terms of Bobrov, Utisnivka, Mena Dolina. There's totally no news. In terms of Borisky as well, there's also not much information. So not sure when the Ukrainians are going to give up on this position, because the retreat route is only this bridge left, and the road to this bridge is going to close soon. There's not much actually clear roads that they can take to this area. I think there are some dirt roads perhaps, so they have to quickly retreat soon, because the Russians are now trying to clear up this forest area behind the airport, Severodonetsk airport, as well as this holiday camp area. So this is actually totally a summer camp, summer village. You can see I'm not sure people stay here. Might be some quite nice place. So these are all holiday camps here. You can see touristic camp. So once the Russians are able to clear up this place, they will definitely go and close up this remaining retreat. So then you can for sure Severodonetsk is or any forces on the eastern side of the Seversky Donetsk River in this front is going to be all stranded. So similarly, there is no updates in terms of Lisna Dacha and Siritaine. But last known is that the Russians are attacking Severodonetsk, but there is no updates in terms of this situation here. It's very weird because the lack of journalists, war journalists on the ground, and any videos that came up nowadays. I think the past 3 days ago, there's a video come out. It was also taken around here, around Mir Hotel region here, far away from the front. Looks like it's rather dangerous to be within the city area. So that casts some doubts on whether the Russians actually control the entire residential area. However, based on most Russian pro-Russian information, is that the Russians indeed control the entire residential area very well, and the Ukrainians are actually being pushed back within the industrial zone. There are reported civilians exiting the Azot plant. So this is actually the Azot plant. Not sure what's up with the naming convention. Is that it's either Azov or Azot. Maybe the next one will be Azoa, and then it'll be the Azor. So anyway, at the Azot plant, the Ukrainians there are some civilians. From another info, it was I think 200, around 200. I can't remember the specific number. And they are expecting there are between 5 to 1,000 civilians being trapped within the Azot plant by the Ukrainian troops. And they are trying to negotiate safe passage for themselves and the civilians. But it's I don't know why they didn't need to negotiate for the civilians anyway. The Russians are not targeting the civilians per se. They should know. We should all know by now. Because the war has been going on for 3 months. Of course, if they got shelled and died, then that's too bad. Because the shell have no eyes. So anyway, I'm not sure where is this second exit. So this is a second checkpoint. It's also known as second exit. I'm not sure where is exact location of it. So according to the Russian analysts, is that the ability for the Ukrainian civilians or whoever civilians that is actually here to actually evacuate, some of them are able to evacuate, means that the Ukrainian forces is actually evacuated from or retreated from a certain part of this plant, which allows the civilians to actually leave. So let's see how it goes. But the latest information is that the Ukrainian forces that is still within the plant, Azov plant, they are unable to leave, because the moment they get out of the build-up area, they can get shelled or fired upon. So they are all now trapped within the industrial area, and they are unable to go to the bridge because the bridge is under effective Russian fire control. So which means that once the Russian spotters able to spot anything that go across the bridge, they will actually pour in artillery fire, and most likely the artillery are already home on this location around here, so they don't even need to readjust. They probably just fire. That will do. So the forces here are trying to negotiate with the DPR, the LPR forces, the Luhansk People's Republic forces, to evacuate. But so far, the Luhansk People's Republic understandably just tell them the only option is to surrender, and probably it's not going to work because based on the last known information, the reinforcement that was poured in were a lot of them was actually the foreign mercenaries. So these foreign mercenaries, if they surrender, they will die, because they will probably be captured, tried, and again sentenced to death. So might as well fight to death, right? So not sure what's next. No updates in terms of Severodonetsk River front. This entire line, there is no crossing reported. There is, however, bombardment of some of these locations. Dronivka, I think, was bombarded. I think Serebranka, but it's not very important. The Russians have been bombarding a lot of places, and they never do anything to those places other than bombarding them. So don't read too much into those bombardment. Now we are into the Izyum Front. At the Izyum Front, there is a Sukhoi 25 shot down over Ryhorodok. This is one of the 3 fighters that was shot down. This is shot down by air-to-air fighter, air-to-air combat. Another one that was shot down together, I think is his teammate, was shot down over Cherkasky. So these are the 2 Sukhoi 25s that were shot down by Russian fighters. And there's another fighter that got shot down, another Sukhoi 25, which shot down over the Hemke, but this was shot down by air defense. So I have really no idea how many Sukhoi 25 the Ukrainians have. The number of shot downs is getting a bit ridiculous. But it's impressive that the Ukrainians are able to master so much air force after 3 months, 4 months of war. So that on its own is actually impressive. There is no breakthrough in terms of Ryhorodok, reportedly because of the lack of a proper crossing, I think. So the Russians are unable to really invade into Ryhorodok, and they have resorted to artillery strikes mostly to try to soften the enemy. There are rumors that the Russian forces have captured Sidorov, or Sidorov, and this came as a bit fast to me, so I'm not sure how reliable this information is. We will just assume that the Russians have captured it, because the capture would, at this kind of speed, also probably means that the Ukrainians have evacuated entirely from Sidorov. So they probably go to Machaki and probably hold this position, because Machaki is a much more built up area. There's some forest line, there's a proper forest, there's some chalky place, and so looks like a more defendable place perhaps than this location here. So which is probably why they will have to retreat to a better defensive position. Something that they should teach the forces in the eastern side of this conflict. Anyway, so we just take this as for now. We will definitely correct this if it's invalidated later. And similarly, on the same stroke, the Russian forces have reportedly captured Bohorodashne, and this was reported by this German account, Unkant W. I actually don't know how to pronounce this. Anyway, this tweet was interesting because he first reported based on unconfirmed information, and then he followed up with a tweet saying now it's confirmed, it's captured. So he probably have some source telling him that of this capture. So Bohorodashne has been captured. There are some analysts, I think I saw on Twitter, saying that because of this development here, the Ukrainian forces retreated from Bohorodashne because they think that they might not be able to hold, which is why there's these 2 twin capture, very quick captures, and that will actually put into question, because if Bohorodashne really got captured by the Russian forces, because I'm not so sure, and I recommend you to take a pinch of salt about these 2 information, then these forces around this region might not be able to hold up much longer, because their retreat route will be cut off, because there's one straight road all the way down and they can actually hold this position. However, of course, the Ukrainian forces may actually hold up in this forested area, just like most of this Izyum Front here, where all these little forest patch are giving the Russians a lot of problem. So the Ukrainians might be holding up in this forested area and make the advance down from Bohorodashne impossible, or nearly impossible. So that might be the case. Fighting probably continues still inside the forest area. There is no reports that the fighting have reached the build-up area in Dolina and Krasnopilia. Fighting continues in these fronts without any updates. There is a Berekta TB2, surprise, getting shot down near Velika Komishubakha. And this is another one of those rare shot down of Berekta TB2. We haven't seen much of them nowadays. So, of course, if we see them, means they got shot down. So, maybe for the pro-Ukrainian crowds may not want me to see them much. This reinforcement, I shall delete this because I've already reported it. So we are now at the Kharkiv Front. At the Kharkiv Front, this I reported already. So there is some changes to the front line. Firstly, I have corrected Sosnivka to be under Russian control. This is actually from second, I think it's 2nd of June. I think this is the 2nd June information. It was, if I'm not wrong, it's 2nd June. From memory. Yeah, 2nd June, you see. I know what I'm doing. So, in 2nd June, this was reported because they reported as Sosnovka. So, in my monitoring, I didn't really capture this. So, this was following the offensive by the Russian forces into Sosnivka. And I was saying that have been listing this as a question mark for a very long time because it doesn't make sense that the Russians would not have captured this location given how close it was from their stronghold and from the Russian border. And so they actually have captured it for some time. So this was actually the front line next to Udi. So we have this change. Fighting continued at Supivka for some time already. And there's a new fighting reported at Veliki Prokoli. Sounds like Prokoli. So at the Veliki Prokoli, not broccoli, Prokoli. Broccoli, I just call it broccoli. Or cauliflower. Anyway, this is 11-6. Sorry, I'm so distracted by my own thoughts. So at the cauliflower, the Ukrainians are actually fighting for it. This is under Russian control, and there is this correct change also that the Russian forces may have already captured Vasily. According to this guy, Andrew Perpetua, I just noticed this guy. I think he's also an OSIN analyst, so you might actually want to check him out. So he said that Vasily was never liberated, so he invalidated me. So I don't know what is this, Major League Basketball. So maybe he's a basketballer, I don't know. So he actually reports on OSIN as well, also on the Ukraine war. So very interesting. And he mentioned that Vasily was never liberated. So never mind, it doesn't matter. Everybody can say whatever they want. And he also reported that the Russians had captured Male Vasily. So the Mrs. Vassell and Mr. Vassell has been back into the arms of the Russian forces. And the Russians continue to attack. They are now attacking in the direction of Boskova or Boskova. So they also mentioned that there's an attack towards Bayrak, and that puts into question whether Bayrak is actually under Ukrainian control or under Russian control. So I didn't put this here because this is under Russian control under my map. We will continue to monitor and see how. There's totally no news on Fedorivka. There is rumors that the Russian forces had retreated from Shestakove as well as Paramoha. I can't verify this kind of information, and usually I do not indicate border changes based on retreats. So because any retreat can be a fake, so I'm gonna ignore that until the Ukrainians actually recaptured it and they declare, oh, the Ukrainians have captured Shestakove or Paramoha, then I will probably change. There is still fighting reported at Rubizne as well. So fighting all around. And that's the summary for the day of 108. And 11th of June. And if you like this video, please press the like button. And please do share this with your contacts, your groups, whoever they are interested in military stuff, geopolitics, you know, share this to them, or they are interested in Ukraine war especially, do share the video to them, so that we can build up build our community bigger. I'll hopefully I'll be able to start covering some other front lines. I think Syria is getting a bit crazy now. Israel just bombarded an airport, I think, of Syria, and the Turkish have messed up a huge force in the north, probably going to go after the Kurdish forces. So not sure what's going to happen. So I think I need to start to cover the Syrian side soon. So hopefully I will continue to have your support, and press the like button. Yes, you know, really have to press the like button, and I'll see you in the next update. Among Us.